All right, boys. Good morning. We're trying this for a second time today. It is Friday, October 27th. My producer's old and doesn't know how to work technology. Good morning, boys.
What's up?
Good morning.
We have officially reached fall in Anthony's backyard. It is beautiful. It is looking good back there, Anth.
Yeah, man. Leaves are falling. Gonna have to pick these up pretty soon.
Get that rider out, that John Deere.
Oh yeah.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nice. 2 Chainz, I think it was once, said that he bought a John Deere because he never once cut his own grass. And he felt like it was a step in manhood to cut his own grass. So I know you guys are big grass cutters, so probably 2 of the biggest manhood guys on the screen.
Yeah. I know you pay somebody to do it, so where's your manhood?
My manhood is out the window.
Yeah, I mean, I wish, I do like cutting the grass. I wish I didn't have to cut it every week. I wish it grew like half the speed it does grow.
Mm-hmm. And do you like jumping in leaves still a thing with kids? Do they still go outside and do that, or is that like something they just look at on YouTube?
Mine don't. You know what? We have a lot of deer in our backyard, man. So ticks are kind of like a thing. So, and
yeah. Last time I knew somebody jumping in a leaf, Natalie, she ended up getting a tick on her, bit, Lyme disease. No more leaf jumping.
Yeah, I jumped leaves my entire life, guy. Okay, never once a tick. Maybe you got to go jump leaves in Robinson Township.
But when you lived up here in Pittsburgh, we actually had winters and killed these things.
I live.
They're just running rampant right now.
I live in both cities. If you're gonna be factual, but okay. Well, we're gonna have a winter this year. It's an El Nino winter, I believe. So get them snow blowers ready. It's been a couple years since you had them running. So nice weekend. Pull out the snow blower, let it run. Make sure it's good because Ryan's guarantee snow this winter.
I'm good with that. I like the snow.
I'm cool with it too. Bring it on. But I am starting to feel like we live in a little bit of like Mediterranean Sea area. Palm trees are going to start coming here in Pittsburgh. Couple years.
I believe we used to be a tropical area back, a million years ago.
Yeah, I believe it. I know when I went to Moab, all the desert out there was too.
But definitely not a scientist, so don't take my word on that stuff. But boys, I guess Tom, we talked on Tuesday. We had the ghost of Anthony as he was finishing up his education. Did we pass? Are we licensed loan officer for another year, Anth?
We are good. We got another year under our belt.
Beautiful. Congratulations. Congratulations. But so we talked Tuesday kind of about the market. We want to continue that talk of more of what we see in the future. Watched a webinar this week with our man, Barry Habib. He's one of the leading experts kind of in our industry of talking about mortgage-backed securities, where they think rates are going to go. And where we are right now. So before we get into it, guys, do you have anything to talk about for the market? I'm going to pull up these slides here. So give your thoughts while I'm doing this.
I think that the market, we've heard so many different things over the last 6 months. A lot of people were saying, could be 2-3 years to come out of it. There's been a lot of good news this past week, though, that we're starting to see. And I know you're going to bring those charts up. The main guy we follow, Barry, he talks us through it all on the webinars, but I won't steal your thunder here, but we're starting to see a trend, maybe a change in that, and maybe in the next 3 quarters, start to see a little bit of relief here from these rates.
Yeah, definitely. So what he's talking about is, well, frankly, Tom, we need the economy to be worse. Or we need the Fed to realize the economy is worse than it is for the interest rates to drop, for them to say, okay, we've raised them high enough, we're good. And the first chart here is the rent numbers based off of CPI or actual current. And the CPI report is what the Fed uses to kind of gauge where inflation is. The CPI report is kind of like a rear view mirror, though. It's only looking out the back window. And Barry was saying, hey, the back window says rent is still only up 2.5%. But if the Fed just looked out the side window instead of the back window, they would see that rent is up 8%. And we are where we need to be. And the Fed needs to take their foot off these rate hikes. And frankly, the economy reports are just lagging, and we have a worse economy than we currently are showing. And the jobs numbers are going to start showing that here going into the winter months, I think, or at least that's what Barry is kind of predicting as well. So again, the Fed is looking in the rear view mirror. We need to be looking in the side mirror, and that's what's really hurting us here. Do either of you guys have anything to add on for that chart?
No, I think that's all.
I think it's self-explanatory.
We're seeing it. I mean, people are feeling it.
For sure.
Their rents are up. Maybe they haven't got to their full year renewal, but when they do, they're going to see the increase. The increases are going to be there. It's just not sustainable to keep them where they're at with how the current economic outlook looks.
Okay, and so here's another reason of why Barry is telling us we're in a position that rates might start coming down soon, slightly. And it's because of where the 10-year Treasury is compared to the Fed funds rate. The 10-year Treasury is a long term, where the Fed funds rate is more of a short term, where the long term should not be over the Fed funds rate. And that's only happened 4 times that the 10-year Treasury has gone above the Fed fund rate. And every time that that's happened, and that's highlighted here in these gray columns, we've had a recession. So 4 times in the past, the 10-year went up. Right after that, we had a recession. Well, here we are at the end now, where we are currently sitting, the 10-year is above the Fed funds rate. All other 4 times this has happened, that has noted a recession. The Fed had to start dropping rates, and we started seeing lower interest rates. So let's see what the Fed did the last 4 times this happened. So here it is. All right, so the last 4 times this happened, the Fed lowered their rates, and then mortgage rates dropped. So as you can see, in the 80s, we went from 11% to 7.5%. Now, they dropped rates too fast there, and then they ticked back up after that. So again, it's a little tricky game the Fed is playing here. You can see in the early 2000s, 8.5 to 5.5, that 08 crisis, 7 to 4.5, and then in the old 2020, we dropped from 3.5 to 2.5. But now we are poised again, or at least history would tell us we're poised again for another one of these decreases. Are we going to get to 3% again? I don't see that, but something in the 6% range doesn't seem to be too crazy, and would seem to be where history would lead us. Again, Tom, what you're saying, the next 3 quarters, moving on to maybe the next 2 years of rates. Are they going to drop overnight? No. But what this means is, if you hate interest rates where they are, you either need to talk to us to get through this time period of higher rates with using a seller buy down or buying it down yourself, or you need to just be okay with the payment and understand that things will or should get better in the future regarding mortgage payments. Now, all of this talk of interest rates dropping, we just did discuss the economy has to stink. That's going to have repercussions across other sectors. So we're talking small macro here with the mortgage world. The economy is going to have a rough year. It seems like inflation is still going up. The government isn't slowing down their spending. So that side of things might not be great. But historically, for mortgage wise, this is what we're looking at. And frankly, we heard over the summer rates were going to drop, and there's a reason why the rates didn't drop. Things happened that were unexpected. A war happened, between Ukraine and Russia. We added $2 trillion in our deficit since June. That's not going to help inflation. We had some bank failures that we haven't seen ever in our country, which then had a credit downgrade for the country. So all of those things happened that hurt us as well. So frankly, I don't know if we can get much worse than we can right now for Mortgage World, and we've gotten through it. So, if we're at the bottom, we can only go up from here.
Yeah. I mean, that's good stuff right there, and positive outlook actually here for the next year, 2 years. So hopefully everything does that. And just something to remember, when we say these rates are dropping, they're not going to drop to 3% again here. We're talking, we need them to drop to 5%, somewhere in that range. And that would be fantastic. So that's what we're looking for, a drop. We're not looking for the 3-4%. I don't think that's going to happen again.
Nope, definitely not. Anth, what do you think?
No, I think we're going to downtrend when the time comes to in the 6s. I mean, in all reality, it's the rates should not be 3 and 4%. I mean, in reality, but in the same token, when clients are purchasing homes right now, they have to understand they don't need 20% down. I know we talked on a few episodes, like save the liquid assets. As long as the payment's affordable for you, there's other options. And that's the biggest thing in buying today, is making sure the payment is affordable. It's kind of a toss up, because you want the biggest house for your first house, and you have to realize it's your first house, and make sure the payment works for you. Utilize those funds to get your rate down, permanently or temporary. And if the rates do come down in the next, year to 2 years, you have the ability to refinance, so.
Absolutely. And I mean, here's what I'm going to say to end our episode today. If you're a real estate agent or you're a buyer putting an offer this weekend, if there isn't 20 offers on the house, ask for seller assistance. Ask for 3% seller assistance. You're going to then call one of us and say, hey, guess what? I got seller assistance. How much can you lower my rate with that seller assistance? And you guys are going to be shocked how much it lowers payments. You're then going to get an interest rate probably close to 1% lower than today's going rate, and it's going to make everyone a lot happier. So there's my rule of thumb. Ask for seller assistance. Easy enough, guys?
Easy enough. Easy peasy.
All right. Have a great weekend. See you guys Tuesday.